She hid my child from me. And when I found out, it was already too late. I was 24 when I met her. Her name was Ava. She walked into the bookstore where I worked part-time, rain on her coat, fire in her eyes. She didn't even look at me when she asked for a book about grief. "Someone died?" I asked, trying to sound helpful. She looked up, paused, and said, "No." But something did. That's how it started. Not with romance, not with flirtation, but with pain. We talked for hours that day. About books. About loneliness. About how sometimes the world feels like it's spinning too fast, and you're the only one standing still. 3 weeks later, we were a couple. 3 months later, we were living together. A year later, she was gone. No note. No call. No explanation. Just gone. At first, I thought she was kidnapped. I filed a missing person report. I searched every park, every hospital, every friend I knew she had. But no one had seen her. And then, 2 months later, I got a postcard. No return address. Just 4 words. "Don't look for me." I broke after that. I stopped working. Stopped eating. My friends tried, but they didn't understand. She wasn't just a girl I dated. She was the only person who ever made me feel seen. Years passed. 5. Then 6. Eventually, I picked myself up. Started working again. Moved to a different city. Started dating again. Casually. Nothing serious. Because my heart? It was still back in that bookstore. Still wet from the rain. Still looking at her. But life, it doesn't care if you're broken. It moves on. And so did I. Or at least, I thought I did. Until one random Tuesday morning, I stopped at a coffee shop I'd never been to before. I was waiting in line behind a little boy. Maybe 5. Curly brown hair. Big green eyes. He looked up at me, smiled, and said, "You look like my dad. You look like my dad." The boy said again, tilting his head, smiling so innocently it broke something inside me. I laughed nervously. "Yeah. What's your dad's name, buddy?" He looked like he was about to answer. But then a woman's voice caught through the room. "Eli, don't talk to strangers." I turned, and the world stopped. It was Ava. Older. A bit thinner. But her eyes? Still the same. She froze when she saw me. Her hand tightened around the coffee cup in shock. Her lips parted like she was about to say something, but no sound came out. I stepped forward. "Ava!" She grabbed the boy's hand. "We have to go," she said quickly, almost whispering. "What?" "Wait, Ava, wait! Is he mine?" She turned away. Didn't answer. Didn't deny it. Didn't even look back. Just walked out the door like she had 6 years ago. I didn't chase her. I couldn't. My legs felt like concrete. The barista was staring. People around were silent. I stood there shaking. Heart pounding. The name kept echoing in my head, Eli. That night I couldn't sleep. My hands were trembling the entire time. I sat on the edge of my bed staring at my phone. I had to find her. Again, but this time, I wasn't looking for love. This time, I was looking for my son. The next morning, I drove back to the coffee shop. Waited. Sat in my car like a stalker, scanning every person who walked in. No sign of her. Next day, I came again. And the next. 3 days later, finally, I saw her. Same coat. Same tight grip on the boy's hand. I got out. Walked up slowly. She saw me and froze. "You need to leave," she said sharply. I kept my voice calm. "Is he mine, Ava?" She didn't answer. "Just tell me the truth. Please." She looked down at Eli. He was playing with a toy car, sitting on a bench outside the cafe. Yes, she whispered. He's yours. I felt my knees almost buckle. Tears welled up in my eyes. Why didn't you tell me? She looked away. Because you deserved a better life. You were barely surviving when I left. I had nothing. No job, no stability. You were depressed. You would have crumbled under the weight of it all. So you decided for both of us? I said, voice rising. You robbed me of being a father. She flinched. I did what I had to do. I missed 6 years of his life. I know. Her voice cracked. And I hate myself every day for it. We both stood there in silence. Finally, I said, I want to meet him. Really meet him. She shook her head. He doesn't know you exist. I'll take it slow. I won't confuse him. But I want to be in his life. She hesitated, looked over at Eli. He waved at a bird, smiled. She closed her eyes. Okay, she whispered. Just don't hurt him. I won't, I said. But Ava, you don't get to disappear again. The first time I truly spoke to Eli, I could barely breathe. Ava arranged it at a quiet park. Just the three of us. She told him I was an old friend from when she used to live in this city. I hated the lie, but I understood. He sat on the swing, legs too short to push off on his own. I walked over and gently gave him a push. Hi, I said. Hi, he replied, giggling from the motion. You like swings? Yeah, but I like rockets more. Rockets, huh? I smiled. What's your favorite planet? He looked back over his shoulder like I just asked him a secret question. Saturn, the rings are cool. He was smart, sharp, and funny. And he had my laugh. I felt a tear building in my throat but forced it down. He didn't need that. Not now. We spent an hour together, just playing, talking. No pressure. As we walked back to Ava's car, he grabbed my hand without thinking. She saw it, and for the first time, she smiled. A real one. Later that night, she called. You were good with him, she said softly. I want more time. I want to know him. I know, she replied. And then after a pause, he wants to see you again. I couldn't sleep that night. I just stared at old photos of Ava and me, wondering how different life could have been, how much I'd missed. Over the next few weeks, we met regularly. Park visits, zoo, ice cream runs. Eli thought I was the fun guy his mom used to know. But the bond grew fast. Too fast to be just some coincidence. One day, we were building a Lego spaceship at my apartment. Eli looked up and said, Can I ask you something? Of course. Are you my dad? My heart froze. I looked at him, his big green eyes full of hope and confusion. I didn't know what to say. I hadn't prepared for this moment, but I couldn't lie. Not again. I nodded slowly. Yes, Eli. I am. He blinked. Then why didn't you come find me? I swallowed hard. Because I didn't know you existed. If I had, I would have come running. He stared for a moment, then whispered, Okay. And just like that, he hugged me. A long, tight, quiet hug. That night, Ava showed up at my door. I told him, I said before she even asked. She didn't look angry. Just tired. He cried when I told him I left you, she said. Said I was mean. I'm not trying to turn him against you. I know, she said quietly. Then she looked around my apartment, scanning the walls, the furniture. I forgot how neat you are, she muttered. Then her voice dropped. There's something else I need to tell you. I looked at her, heart racing. Something I should have told you before you met him. I stepped closer. What is it? She took a shaky breath. Eli is sick. Eli is sick. The words echoed in my mind like a gunshot. I stared at her, waiting for more, praying it wasn't what I thought it was. How sick? I finally asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Ava sat down slowly on the edge of my couch. She looked small, fragile, nothing like the strong, mysterious woman who once disappeared from my life. He has a rare blood disorder, she said, her eyes fixed on the floor. It's genetic. It affects his immune system. We've been in and out of hospitals since he was 2. My knees went weak. I had to sit down. Is it terminal? She nodded slowly. It can be, but we've been managing it. There are treatments, but they're expensive. And now the doctors are saying he might need a bone marrow transplant. I stared at her in disbelief. And you didn't think to tell me? She looked up at me, eyes red. I was going to. But then you showed up, and I panicked. Panicked? You don't understand, she said, her voice cracking. I've been doing this alone for 6 years. Every decision. Every night in ER. Every panic attack. I didn't know how to let you in. I didn't know if you'd blame me or run again. Run? I stood up. Ava, I would have died for that kid the second I knew he existed. Tears streamed down her face. I know that now. But I was scared. And maybe I was selfish too. Silence fell between us. I walked to the window. The city lights blurred through my tears. Am I a match? I asked quietly. She wiped her face. We don't know yet. I didn't want to test without your permission. Then let's do it. Tomorrow. She looked surprised. You'd really? I turned around. He's my son. And if I can save him, I will. The next morning, I went with Ava and Eli to the hospital. He was excited, thought it was just another checkup day. He held both our hands in the elevator, swinging between us like he was flying. The nurse took my blood, told us we'd get results in a week. Those 7 days were torture. Ava and I saw each other more than ever. And for the first time, we didn't argue. We didn't hide behind guilt or anger. We just existed for him. One night, we sat on her porch after putting Eli to bed. She handed me a cup of tea. I never stopped loving you, she said suddenly. I didn't answer. I couldn't, because part of me still loved her too, but another part was still healing from the wreckage she left. I'm not asking for us to go back, she added. I just needed you to know. I looked at her. I needed you too, Ava. Back then, you left me when I was already drowning. I know, she whispered, and I'll never forgive myself for it. The call came 5 days later. Earlier than expected, I was a match. Perfect match. I remember holding the phone and just sobbing. I was going to save him, my son. The day of the transplant, I sat in a white hospital gown, staring at the 4 in my arm. It was strange. I wasn't scared. I wasn't worried about the pain. I was only thinking of him. Eli, 5 years old. Loved Saturn. Called ketchup. Tomato jelly. Thought dinosaurs still secretly lived underground. He was the best part of me. And I had almost lived my life never knowing he existed. They wheeled him into surgery first. He looked small on the gurney. Too small. But when he saw me, he grinned. You're gonna give me superhero blood, right? I laughed. Only the best kind. He held out his hand. I squeezed it tight. Love you, kid. I love you too, Dad. That word. Dad. The first time he said it to me. And I nearly broke. The surgery went well. Doctor said the transplant was clean. His body would need time to adjust, but things looked good. The first week was rough, fever, nausea, pain. But he fought. God, he fought like a little warrior. I stayed by his side every single day. Ava did too. Sometimes we took turns holding his hand while he slept. Other nights, we both stayed. One night, around 2 a.m., I found her crying softly in the hallway. "I don't deserve him," she whispered. "I don't deserve you helping us." I stepped closer. "No. But you were strong when I wasn't. You kept him alive. You did that." She shook her head. "I made so many mistakes." "So did I." She looked at me then, really looked. And for the first time in years, I saw the girl I fell in love with. Not broken. Not guarded. Just human. Weeks passed. Eli got stronger. His color came back. His laugh came back. And with it, so did my life. One afternoon, as we played with Legos on the hospital bed, he looked up and asked, "Can I live with both of you now? Like, in the same house?" Ava and I locked eyes. Neither of us spoke. But in that silence, we both knew the answer was yes. 6 months later, we moved in together. Not as a couple, not at first. Just a family trying to heal. But love has a funny way of sneaking back in when you stop trying to force it. And one night, as we watched Eli sleep in his new room, Ava leaned on my shoulder. "I still love you," she whispered. This time, I didn't stay silent. "I still love you too. We're not perfect. We argue over dishes, over bedtime routines, over which dinosaur is actually the coolest. But we're a family now. And every time Eli calls me Dad, I remember how close I came to missing all of it. Because of fear. Because of pride. Because sometimes, people break when they're trying their hardest to survive. But here's what I've learned. Love doesn't always come easy. Sometimes, it disappears. Sometimes it hides. Sometimes, it even runs. But if you're lucky, if you really fight for it, it finds its way back. Even when it feels too late.